Welcome to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. If you are a business owner who wants to consistently create content that connects and converts into clients, this is the podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Creative Content Club podcast. I'm so glad you're back here to listen to another episode. I'm really calling this the first official episode because the first one was a bit of an introduction about me. But today I want to get into the real reason I started the Creative Content Club podcast was to talk about content. Creating content consistently that converts into clients, sales, and connections as well, because it's about connecting with people. When we connect with people, we really can find more clients and make more sales, which is why we're all here. We're in business, and yet somehow we are often so afraid to put ourselves out there, particularly knowing what the right content is to create. So that is what I'm going to get into today. I'm going to tell you about how to write messaging that speaks directly to your ideal clients. Often as business owners, the one thing we approach our content with is seeing it from our own perspective. So what I mean by that is we've got to get into the shoes of the people that are going to buy from us, the people that we really want to work with. And so many people think that they should take the first offers that come along, take every single client, and then they end up with people that they don't really want to work with and stop enjoying their business. All of this starts with creating the content that is right for our ideal clients to attract the right kind of people to our businesses so that we can really connect with them. Because like I've often say, if you've worked with me before, or if you've been in any of my workshops or classes or follow me on the social spheres, people buy from people that they like, that they know, that they trust. But more importantly, people buy from people where they feel like they're being seen, heard, and understood. So when we are creating content, we have to write content and create imagery, videos, everything that speaks and appeals to our ideal clients. So we have to put ourselves in their shoes. I'm going to give you an example of how I did this when I opened the cafe, bar and bakery back in 2018. I actually did this really hard job of going around lots of different cafes and bars. It was tough. Someone had to do it. The reason I did that is because I wanted to get an idea of what it was like to be in those spaces, to walk in the shoes of the customers, to be a customer, so that I could really think about, well, what is it that I want to create for my business? What do I like? What don't I like? How do people behave? What kind of clients and customers are these people attracting to their businesses? And it gave me a real sense of knowing what it might be like for my customers walking into my own cafe and bar. And I did the same when I opened the bakery, which is harder when you've got like an online or a service-based business, right? Because you can't necessarily walk into a place and get that feeling. But what we can think about is that experience and that connection that we really want to build with people. People buy stories, they buy people. So we need to write the content and create the content that speaks to them. My first tip for you today is write and create content for one person, not your entire audience. What exactly am I going on about here? Because you're probably thinking, well, I've got more than one person following me. Very true. I hope you do, because that's absolutely how you're going to build your business. It's about audience growth. Every day should be about growing your audience. But at any one time, there is one person reading your content. They're not reading it in a group, unless you're doing a workshop or a masterclass or standing on stage. They might be reading it in a group, but there is only ever two sets of eyes and on that content at any one point. So we need to talk directly to individuals, not everybody. People want to feel like they're in a conversation with you, that you're sitting across a table from you and having a coffee. When we start speaking to the intrinsic needs of people, that's when we start to form those real good connections. And that's when the content starts to convert, because people feel like they're being seen and understood and heard. Listening to our audience is so important. So when you create that content, imagine one person sitting across from you that you want to connect with. Put a picture up on the wall of a persona, or put like a list of values or things they like. Whatever you need to do, talk to one person, not the entire room. Otherwise, you're going to be speaking to nobody if you're speaking to everybody. The second tip I've got for you today is we need to talk in their language. You need to speak in the language that your clients use. So, for instance, if your thing is SEO and you do web design, so if you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. Basically, it's how you get found by search engines, how you get found by Google. So if someone types in a keyword, and when we say keywords, they might type in something like, how do I make my content that converts? Then the idea is that your website, your business will be the first one that appears in those Google rankings. That's what we're aiming for. So if you say, for instance, are in SEO, but you're talking a lot about SEO and your ideal customers and clients have no idea what you're talking about, they're going to filter out that information. They're not going to really understand what you're talking about, or how it's important, or why it should be prioritized. So the words and the images that we use needs to connect with them. They need to understand what you're talking about. It's not about dumbing down what you do. It's just that you're an expert and you know more than your ideal clients. So don't assume they know what you're talking about just because it's something you say every single day. It's one of the biggest learnings I have had. I've been training in social media and digital for years. I've been doing it throughout my entire career. I would probably do at least one training session, or if not two, a week for many, many years. The biggest takeaway I had from all of that is often I could speak in a lot of jargon, but the people I was trying to train and get them familiar with different social media channels to keep them consistent, they didn't get what I was talking about. So I had to change what I talked about. So if you, for instance, going back to the SEO example, if you talk about that, people might not really understand the relevance. But if you talked about the fact that if someone was searching for something you do you want to be number one in Google? They would get that. They would understand what you're talking about. So when I'm saying use the language they use, it's making sure that it's easy enough for people to relate and connect with. So listen to what your clients ask for. Find out the words that they use, the sentences that they put together, because that will help you create the content that really talks directly to your ideal clients. Think about how they might position the problems that they have. Maybe they're talking about the symptoms, that is your website getting any views? Likelihood is they're probably not even looking at the website if they are, and the analytics, or even know how to look at the analytics. They might not even know that, because sometimes it's not that easy if you're not in the world of digital and tech isn't your thing. So again, we want to really understand how we can create the content that really speaks to people. My third tip for you today is to tailor your messages to the type of content they consume. This is actually thinking about how people process different information, and often where. So my husband, he absolutely loves YouTube. He will spend his life on YouTube watching probably stuff to do with motorbikes, and literally, like, that's how he consumes. He is a video person, whereas I'm much more about images. I love images. I do watch videos, but I haven't got the patience to sit through and watch a reel. That is not how I consume content. I want the information as quickly as possible. If I have to sit through a video, unless it's got me like really, really quickly with a really good hook, I'm not going to watch it. And I'm also not going to watch it with volume. When you're thinking about your ideal clients, we want to know really where they hang out, but also what information do they like to receive and how do they like to receive it? Everybody takes in information in different ways. I did this really interesting it wasn't an experiment, but this is the only way I'm going to describe it. I did this really interesting experiment with my team back when I used to manage digital and marketing. And I sat down with my entire team and everybody took the same test to find out how we like to learn. Not unsurprisingly, given that my team was content creators, digital people, we were all people that either learnt by kinesthetic, which is doing it, so actually sitting down and doing it, or photo, so images, so seeing what we needed to do. None of us were auditory. I think that's how you say it. Basically, none of us learn by listening. It doesn't work for me. So if you talk at me, if you give me directions, absolutely no use. That's a dyslexia in me. If you told me how to get somewhere with directions, I'm going to listen and I'm going to nod and I'm going to go, yeah, no, I've not got that at all. So when we're thinking about the kind of content we want to create, it's not about what's easiest for you, because there's no point in creating stuff that does not engage your audience in the right way. It's really understanding how they consume. So for instance, I know a lot of people who are my ideal clients love podcasts. Hence why I'm here doing this podcast, because they enjoy having that information in the background while they're working or when they're out for a walk, or just being able to get that bite-sized information. I also do blog because I find that works really well. And I will do short emails as well as long form, because again, different people in my ideal clients and my potential ideal clients consume content differently. So I set that up because I understand that they might be consuming content in very different ways. And that's what works really well for me. And I really understand how people consume that content. So when it comes to your clients that you want to work with, what kind of content is going to work best for them? The way you figure that one out, probably go, yeah, great, good. How do I know? You try different stuff. It's a test and learn. We really think about how people consume stuff by engaging with them, trying different things, opening those conversations and observing what they're doing, observing where they are. And again, once we've got that information, then we can really create the content and the messaging that will resonate with them. We can really understand that sort of what's going to hook them in and make them want to connect with you and find out more. My final top tip for you today is a little bit echoing what I've just said in that last point, but it's about consider the right length of your content. Like I say, with my ideal clients, a lot of them really enjoy that storytelling element. They love that kind of part of my writing where I do write a lengthy email. If you're on my email list, if not, come sign up. But on a Friday, I will do the Friday Thoughts email, which is a storytelling email, sorry. It's about really taking people on a journey and telling them a little bit more about me. It's usually a lengthier email. It's very rare that I can do a short story. I'm not designed like that. Whereas Thursday's email is what I call the useful info, which gives people bang, 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 3 really highlights. It gives a highlight of the week and then 3 other bits of content, like what's on the blog, a top tip, and probably a link to the podcast. So that is what I do with different types of content. And again, this is all test and learn. So I stopped doing the Friday Thoughts email for a while because I thought, I'm not sure this is really going to work. And then I decided to bring it back. And it's working really well for me. It's doing really well. And I also try different lengths of content in different channels as well. So it could be, when I'm talking about length, like I do like carousel posts in Instagram. So these are the ones where you put multiple images onto one post. And some of those are about 10 to 12 images long with basically a caption scroll. Go have a look at my Instagram. I am Naomi C. Rose if you want to see what I'm talking about. I also test different lengths of content in things like LinkedIn, as well as on this podcast. So at the moment, I'm keeping these episodes quite short and punchy. But I also enjoy a really lengthy episode. Give me a Dr. Chatterjee episode any day of the week, or a How to Fail pod with Elizabeth Day. Any of those. And I really love listening to them. I don't sit down and listen to them in one go. I will be honest, unless I'm in a car, and then I might listen to it all in one go if I'm on a long car journey. But generally speaking, I am the kind of person that will do stuff in bite size. Like I don't sit down for any length of time. I am not very good at that. I'm very good at talking for a length of time, but I'm not very good at sitting down. So that's what I think about when I'm creating that content. One thing I really want you to think about is that people process images 60,000 times faster than words. The imagery is really, really important. Whether you're using images, whether you're using videos, whether you're doing a post with a caption on it, we need to stop the scroll. And again, different channels, different purposes for content. So certainly with something like Instagram, where imagery is really important. But I have tested lots of different style imageries. So I am balancing up different style images because I'm really understanding what is and what isn't working for my ideal clients. And I try and do some different types. You might think, gosh, you're making it really hard work for yourself. I am and I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm in the sense of, yes, I do lots of different types of content because I want to kind of also feed different channels to different people and different ideal clients, as well as having that multi-layered content strategy. After all, this is what I do. This is my thing. I talk about content, so I've got to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. But actually, because I template so much stuff, I've made it really, really simple for myself. So yes, I do lots of different types of content, but all of it is based on one kind of theme each week, and I build it out from there to make it really, really easy. So I don't spend hours doing content. I don't spend hours coming up with 100 different messages. I don't do that. I make it simple as possible for myself. The path to least resistance works. They are my top tips on how to write messaging that speaks directly to your ideal client. So just to recap, write to one person, not everyone. Create content for just one person, not everybody. Use the language your ideal clients and your audience uses. Tailor your content to the types of content they consume. So make sure whatever you're creating resonates with what they like to watch and see. And finally, consider the right length of content for your ideal clients. Don't waste your time writing lengthy posts if they want quick, snappy captions. And bear in mind, not everybody's going to read your lengthy Instagram post either. So think about what it is that you need to hook people into. I hope that's been useful for you today. I'd really, really love to know what you think of this episode so I can make sure I give you lots more useful content in the future. And don't forget, if you want to connect with me, get my free guide, all of those sorts of things, do go visit the show notes. You can find all my social media channels. You can take my quiz to find out why your content isn't converting. And you can also find out about how you can work with me. So whether that's a VIP content planning day, getting the creative content kit, or even coming and joining the Creative Content Club membership, where you will get all of those daily prompts to help you with your content creation, as well as my personal support. Thank you very much for listening today. I'll be back again with another episode and hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this podcast a review. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, I'd really appreciate it if you could share it with someone else who would find it useful. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, don't forget to check out the show notes to take my quiz to find out exactly why your content isn't converting into clients. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode.